the great Indian smart home. What works and what are the challenges? Again, it's going to be a very insightful discussion. We have some amazing guests joining us for this particular panel discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time that we welcome our guest, starting with Mr. Vineet Mehta, Director, Business Development, Vinshek. Can we have a round of applause? Thank you, Vineet, for joining us. He's also going to be the moderator for the session. Next up on the panel, we have Madhav Kohli, founder, AudioSphere. Round of applause. Next up, we have Mansi Pandey, principal designer, the Design House Company. Next on the panel, Neha Garg, founder and principal designer, Studio Jane Designs. Can we have a round of applause? Thank you for joining us, Neha. Next on the panel, we have architect Krishna Murthy, principal architect, Folds Design Studio. Round of applause. Mr. Murthy? Yes, he's here. And last but not the least on the panel, we have Soniya Potdarr, founder and principal designer, Soniya Potdarr Design Studio. Round of applause. Thank you so much, panelists, for joining us. And now I request our moderator, Mr. Mehta, to please conduct the session.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is a brilliant opportunity. This topic is very interesting because the panel that we have today is a combination of designers. Madhav is primarily a system integrator, so he does the integration jobs. And I primarily represent a lot of brands in India, so I eventually get the feedback from all the dealers across India. So what you're going to experience and hear today, again, it's very, very interesting. So starting with the concept and my first question. So this question, I will practically share it. I'll ask an opinion from all the panelists because this is a very important question, what I feel. So how are integrators designing the automation flows that adapts to Indian unique living patterns? Because the way client lives their homes, or I would say live their life, like the domestic help usage, whether they are comfortable with practically the domestic usage, joint family structures, they have a joint family, and the erratic power supplies which we get in the house. So I will start with Neha. If you can just share your thoughts, that will be excellent.
Thanks, Vineet. So as you said that integrators, how do we help the integrators to do that? So it originates from the client's requirements and the context of the solution to be given by the designers for that particular user of the space. So as you rightly mentioned, there are, for each kind of client, there is a different requirement and the solution has to be created, should be customized as per that. For few, wellness could be the automation is required at the wellness level. For few, the automation is required on day-to-day chores level. A few, it's for the security. A few, it could be just for like a different experience for a joint family, what we generally have in an Indian system. So the crux starts from the requirement of the project. When we understand the requirement of the project, we have to create a solution, and then the integrators like you people help us to understand, okay, for this kind of requirement or the problem, the solutions could be via these kind of automated solutions. So I believe the more important part is to understand the requirement of the project, and then we all together can collaborate to give that solution to the users of the space.
Hello. Hi. I think this is it is something which we have been experiencing it for a long period of time now. I think automation has not just entered. Automation has been there since almost 20 years, I think now, in the industry. And over the period of years, I think people have survived using automation at multiple areas. And I think today they have learned it, one. So once the learning is done, I think it's very easy for everyone to handle automation in a much bigger way. But the whole idea is automation to an extent has become a luxury. It's become a comfort in the zone of architecture and interiors today. But beyond which, if you're looking at, the earlier panel was discussing about human behavior. So beyond which, when you're talking about, these dual families staying in one place or multiple people handling an automation in one area, the whole idea is to integrate their human behavior with respect to the automation, right? So till now, we have been talking about automation as a device, but later on, I think it might change its thought process. The idea of automation can change and become as if it is a part of our immune system now, right? So then I think probably there will be a lot of corrections which will happen, and we will start resolving those issues. Today we are still at that premature stage of just climbing that first step. For past 20 years we have learned a lot of things, and we have adopted this system into our basic curriculum today, right? So I think it needs a little more time where all these human behavioral patterns can change. And I think maybe not too much of a time, as somebody was saying 10 years down the line. Today we are in 2025, 2035 was what we are talking about in the last panel. But I think things will be much faster as AI has already entered into the subject now. Yeah.
Mansi, can I have your...
Hi. So I think I'm an interior designer. So I think automation... Is it better? So I think, so I do a lot of residential projects, and automation has become a key part of it at this juncture now. I think for almost all the projects we are, getting an automized device. So to just brief on what everyone has said, I think it's become very personalized and a very need of the hour. Because everybody wants everything, interiors is all about customization and all about personalization, right? And I think automation is a device that really helps you achieve that. Small things if you want to create, just giving examples of if you want to create a particular mood or a particular scene, you can do it with a touch of a button when it comes to an automation device. If you want to, have mood lighting, or in fact even smart stuff, if you want to just simple things if you want to enter and you want the light to come on a motion sensor. So we are doing these kind of things for houses and residential projects, essentially making life easier for the end user and the client. And everybody also wants a lot of easy access now to they want the TV to come on in a certain way, they want the curtains to be drawn just sitting on their bed, they want the lights to be dimmed so I think automation makes your experience as a user extremely smooth, extremely futuristic, and I think it's going to be catching up really fast, like what Sir said. I don't think it's a thing of the future, I think it's a thing of the now. Even every simple home is going with automation now. So yes, that's my view on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So basically, we have reached this stage in India, I would say, where people have realized consumer is more well-researched also. And everyone has realized that automation is here, all this smart tech is here to make your life easier. And that helps a lot to begin with, So things like motion sensors are extremely useful for the elderly people. And everything is integrated, it comes right to your phone. So even if you're in a joint family and you want to, look up to what your child is doing, what the elderly in the house is doing, it's all in your phone. It is giving you better reach, to function as a traditional joint family. It's a great tool, and people have realized that using automation is eventually there. It is going to cut down on your power bills and everything. You just need to set, have settings for your AC temperatures, it's on and off, the lighting on and off. So in the long run, it does save a lot of money for people, and that is what people have realized. So initially, it may look expensive, but in the long run, it does save you a lot. on energy and also on the finances. So everybody here is doing a bit for the planet also. So I think that's the major realization which is come on the consumer level. And I think that's a great go ahead for everybody, you know. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me on the panel. So I've been in the field for almost 2 decades, give or take. And automation is something which has been around for quite some time. In the past few years, about a decade or so, it has steadily grown because a lot of devices in and around our house are slowly being integrated with technology every day. You know, it can be an air conditioner or etc. Of course, sensors have become more and more available, steadily available, thanks to, of course, social media and Amazon, so on and so forth, right? The question was that how does the house help? And how do your regular users, you know, find it easy to use? Is it, there is apprehension whether it will be complicated or not. The first things first, I always tell my clients that it is supposed to be easy to use. It is not supposed to be complicated. It is supposed to solve your daily problems, like something like, you know, opening the shades in the common areas early in the morning, right? It's supposed to happen automatically, and I call it a big house problem. If you have 30 windows or 10 windows, it is not possible. You know, it's just not possible. You cannot depend on anybody, right? And it's all Vastu, etc. So it should be done. It happens in my house as well. Just like Vineet, I'm a user for almost over a decade now as well, and it's beautiful. Now, if you actually structure the project properly, if you have proper marking, proper demarcations, a little thought process, right? Not to overcomplicate things, then yes, it is going to be very, very easy to use. You know, if you overcomplicate, if there are 30 features, you give all 30, which might not be relevant, of course it's going to be complicated. And in turn, what happens is then a client comes back to a designer, says, मेरे दोस्त के यहाँ लगा हुआ है, but you know, I stayed for a night and it's very complicated. Obviously, it's going to be complicated. There is no engraving on the keypads. We don't know what is going to happen. Like in hotels, we all have experienced that light 1 घंटा लग जाता है, मेरे को figure out करने में light ही कैसे जलती है, correct? So that's my personal thing. I think we should make it simple, effective, stick to the core point, and it has to be reliable. Very, very, very important, right? And of course, there are a lot. I can go on and on.
No, thank you, everyone. I guess every technology, I think when it evolves, it takes time for people to accept the challenges that it poses. So if I can just give an example of touch phones, or I would say touchscreen phones. So when Apple came out with the phones, a lot of my customer or my parents said that the grandfather will not be able to use the phone. It's not convenient. It's not good. But today, if you see that touchscreens, the button phones are out, and it's all 100% touchscreen in our life. Be it the young kid in the house or practically the grandfather or the oldest family member, they all are enjoying the touch, or I would say a dynamic interface on their mobile phones. And this is where home automation, so yeah, we all agree that it's been a brilliant industry. It's for convenience. It definitely brings a lot of value to customers. But now, the value, I would say, I would say that the dream that the integrators show to clients, a lot of time the reality is not same. So that's where my next question is that what are the challenges you guys face with respect to home automation industry? Because this is where is one of the most important question, and which I would love to hear the feedbacks from the designers as well as from integrator. So if I can start with Krishna, please.
Sorry. See, for me, challenges, I don't think I am actually finding any challenges, because there are a lot of people who are masters in this field of automation, especially people like you and the integrators. They are around us. They have, over a period of years, they have really learned, and I understand that they can give the best. Right. So there I don't find any challenges. For me, challenges are on a different aspect that I'm looking at. As in the earlier discussion also, I talked about human behavior. See, if we are sitting here in this auditorium, right, few people may be finding it little chilled, few people may be finding it little, warmer, or they may want a little more amount of, the air conditioning aspect. The air conditioning thing in this room, with respect to the number of people sitting in this, should sense it, right? If it senses, I think every person will be comfortable. That's what I feel about. Are we, as designers, as the vendors, right, or the automation industry, is it ready today to give us these kind of aspects which can help us design better? Okay. So what happens is, if at all, let us say I'm putting an air condition at 21 degrees temperature. For a simple example, yesterday in my office, we added one more AC, right? Suddenly people sitting there felt that, it's a little chilling. But one of the person said, no, I'm okay with it. So the difference happens. Then we started fiddling with it, right? Can the AC sense the human behavioral patterns and understand and respond to the space? So what happens is, we are looking at different kind of materials today which can be automated. Rather than the automation supplying it to humans and its comfort, if this automation can be integrated with the materials, and I think you are the people who could really get this thing into the industry, so that architects and designers get the opportunity to design buildings and their interior spaces in a completely different way, right? Rather than having the typical strategy. See, when automation entered into the industry, we all knew that there are new things coming up. But over a period of 20 years, we have learned that automation has got certain barriers and certain limitations. And we have all accepted it. And we are all using it very comfortably. I think everybody is comfortable with automations. At the initial stages, few people said, nahi, hame switches hi chahiye. We don't want these buttons, right, automated things. But they have changed. But I think today we have to take a step further and get new things into the industry so that we as designers get the opportunity to think beyond. Because things are already stagnated now. So I feel that automation has to go a little beyond.
So here I have a little differ of opinion. I differ from the point because reason of two things. One, we have offered a lot of solutions which are custom made for clients, where the husband said that, okay, I want a human-centric lighting where based on the outside environment, which could be morning, afternoon, evening, my room lights change automatically. So if the outside lux is 300 lux coming from the natural light, my inside room, if it requires 650 lux, I only turn on my lights to 350 lux. So it's artificial plus natural, and that becomes human-centric, which is 650 lux in the room. We designed this 14 years back for the client, whatever the husband said, and we designed it, and it was, they started using it for a month. The lady of the house comes and calls me, this is a shit system. The lights are changing automatically. I don't want this, remove it. I said, ma'am, this is designed, your husband asked for this. I said, nothing doing, change it. So this is where a lot of times, for example, air conditioning. Again, in my office, primarily, I have my staff area where we have fixed this temperature at 24, okay? Even at 24, which is a very reasonable temperature, there's a guy sitting under the AC, he feels very cool. There's a guy who is little far, practically he feels primarily not so good. Now, how do I strike a balance? It is impossible, and this is where the challenge is not about the automation as a concept, and even if I want to do it, there will always be a challenge of the installation of the product close to the gentleman, or the understanding about different people in the same space. This is what I'm just, with that, I would love Neha's feedback on this. But it's just, I thought I want to share this, my experience on this concept.
So I would like to take advantage of sitting in between of both of you. I'll extend from here what I feel like. I mean, do we really want to make our life so much mechanic? Do we really want automation to override our emotion? I want to understand. Yes, to some extent, we require some kind of humanization in our machines that can, help us in our comfort level. But then beyond a level, the beauty is the being organic. The human is an organic being. And then the mood doesn't come on a mechanic basis. Mood comes sometimes suddenly. A human is just sitting and he's very happy, and he realized something past which was not very good experience for him, and his mood changes. It doesn't mean the mood suddenly has to, the automation system suddenly start from playing a very happy moody song or the dance song to a sad song, or like from a very bright light to a gloomy light. So to some extent, yes, the automation should be made to at a humanized level. That should be controlled by human itself. humans should not be giving the opportunity to the automation that they should start overriding us. Rather, we should be having the control over it to make it to make to the level that they can make our life, give our life the necessities, the comforts, and the luxuries what we expect from that automation system.
Madhav.
So, Vineet hit the nail on the head. I do agree with Sir on the basis of the HVAC point that it should auto sense. You can do it to a certain extent, but as Vineet rightly said, everybody has different preferences. So we could try to potentially strike a balance, but in terms of lighting, what we try to do is we try to tell clients, let's do these automated features, right, which have the changes that take place should be concentrated on, let's say, the common areas. Because again, in your private areas, let's say a kitchen, let's say a bedroom, a study, it is always, that you are sitting inside that space and you might not always feel like a lot of light. I don't feel like it when I sit in my cabin, right? There are times I want dim light while I'm working. For whatever reason, maybe it's a stressful day. So that is that. And it should be a balance between practicality and technology, I would say. That is one. The challenges, the question was challenges. So for us as integrators, one of the major challenges explaining to clients that what works, what doesn't, and how it is supposed to work. And the last thing is what infrastructure you require to make sure it works all the time, right? See, exactly. Yeah. So, if the reliability factor, which I addressed a little bit earlier, is very, very important and paramount. The entire user experience always relies on that, and including our industry, the growth of industry also relies on that. आप तभी किसी को recommend करोगे जब अच्छा चलेगा. It's very, very important, right? Features में the sensors, HVAC को, it will maintain the temperature, it will give signals, so on and so forth. Same with the lights, etc. But it should be a fail-safe design, right? Shouldn't fail, no fluctuations, no should hamper it, because it is very, very important. Your lights go off. If your music system doesn't work, I'm a big audio guy, right? But if your music system doesn't work, you potentially could live with it. But if your lights don't work, it's game over, right? So yeah, we can probably delve on it later, right?
Soniya, please, your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so I was, the challenges you said, what are the challenges that we face? So the challenges is if you have to have some of the automation features on backup, like on UPS, then you cannot have the entire system on UPS. You have to choose. You have to choose the number of lights. You have to choose the number of fan, and then there's a gradual, transfer like to UPS that takes a few seconds. To manage all that, I think it's a huge challenge for us also and for system integrators also. So I think I have faced that issue,
So if I may, an online UPS is a must for anything as sensitive as automation, audio, networking, so on and so forth. As you rightly said, it's in a split. It's so fast that it basically does not hamper, your thing. And yes, so what we advise our clients is that your major parts, which is the entire, apart from your automation and these sensitive items, you keep on your regular power supply, your genset, your servo, of course, to filter it all. And online UPS can power. And in most cases, your load is not actually that much. You don't actually need a powerhouse to actually power it, because it's very efficient now, right? So yeah, I think it should be a must.
And then if there is an AV also, and then how to integrate that also. Then the size of the UPS also changes, right? Yeah. So everything is, then it affects the final cost and everything, So it's pretty much challenging here. You can't deny that.
I wanted to keep this to the last. Boss, it costs money. Anything good costs money. The difference is that our field is very ambiguous. People think, where did it all start from? I'm not going to take names of brands, but where the inception and Vineet will know where I'm hinting, the brands which, who basically invented the dimming protocol, etc. It's all expensive. You know, you can't play with that. You will never, will you ever go for a cheap lift? You will not do that.
Also is, how much size and space you have to keep the UPS also. So
It
there are
just has
so
to be
many
pre-planned.
determining factors for that,
So this is where, if as designers you have challenges, and if you practically tell these challenges to an integrator and understand what is his design thought process about answering this problem. So if I say today that my product doesn't need any UPS because it has 3 layers of protection in the product itself, I think we save space, and this is where I think we are all talking about. This
What
is
if we
where
don't have the budget for it?
sorry.
What if we don't have any budget for it?
No budget for even what basic lighting controls.
No.
No, so that's what I'm saying. So this is where eventually the money that you're going to spend, if an integrator is giving you a product which has protection built into it, UPS is of course for power backup. It's not for practically surge protection. But if, let's imagine the client is, the project wherever it has a lot of power outages. And for that you need a UPS. Either ways, whether it's automation or no automation, you have to put UPS. Correct? So there are 2 different things. Online UPS, what he mentioned, is basically for surge protection and power backup. But if I'm saying that, okay, UPS is there, the power is, let's imagine, doesn't get cut, but surge, which comes because of an external factor, which could be your electricity board, your electrician coming and practically making a mistake, and the 230 volt phase becomes 440 volt, your entire electron goes for a toss. And this is where the external factor, which is beyond your or as well as the integrator's control, if the product has that reliability factor, the best part is that it is independent to take care of that external factors and still work for a longer run. This is also very, and that's why one of the challenge that I see is...
Absolutely, yeah.
With that, please, your thoughts.
So I think everyone's mostly covered all the problems, but I would also say like I think clients get a little apprehensive because I think smart technology is still like it's there, but it's only used not very extensively yet. So I think clients get a little apprehensive that what will be the after sales service. How will, if something gets spoiled, we can get a local electrician to probably fix a switch or fix a light. But when you have a smart home device, like how do we treat that problem, Mansi? So, are you sure? And the reliability of the person who you're dealing with or the company who you're dealing with. So that is also a challenge which we face. When we usually recommend somebody, we like to do our R&D. We like to make sure that they will be there after 4 years, 5 years. If the client wants to, supposing he is doing it only for a certain part of the house initially, like the living spaces or the commercial spaces, and then he says, oh, this is really nice, let's even do it for the bedroom. So how do we expand on it? How do we use that technology to go to overall? Yeah, so all these are like the challenges and, the little apprehension that a designer faces when we usually recommend technology to people or to clients, yeah.
So I think we are almost out. We are out of time.
Yeah.
So one last thing. So choose the right person. A. B. It costs money. Anybody saying it is not going to cost money is probably not the right person.
And that, the
Yeah.
costing money
So,
part also.
I think it's
because
psychological.
obviously the good
Yes.
ones are always...
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's psychological. Again, I tell people it's a big house problem, deal with it. You have a big house, you have to spend money.
Yeah, and I think most of the brands are providing service, at whatever locations. Everybody is well networked, yeah.
Yeah, which I was coming to. So it's a very integrator-driven market. It's potentially always going to be. They're good friends like, one of the panelists was Maulik earlier, right? He has a beautiful, large team with infrastructure. So it's very important to select people who invest back into their businesses. Yes, they will be a little bit expensive because how it's going to work. But
So, Madhav, thanks. I think that's what I said. It's a very interesting subject.
interesting
We can just keep discussing, keep going on and on. And this is where I guess little insight that you got that designers or primarily as an integrator, we have different experiences. But yes, I think I can conclude that is very, very important if designers who are logically the influencers for me in today's market where they influence the client, if they do a prerequisite of a guy that, okay, this guy has a backup, his products, so of course you can ask few questions and you can really understand that what is the infrastructure that he has. I think about the power backup, UPS, space saving, I think they are very, very apt and the logical questions today for any designer. And I guess if you ask, you will get the right answers from the people and your choice is very simple, trust me. This is what I think that's why I was very excited about this topic, because this has been one of the gray area where I would say that designers always, because they are always occupied with 15 agencies. They have to look at carpet, they have to look at marble, they have to look at a lot of other subjects. So getting into the automation space, but we all agree that technology is here for convenience. And if a little time spent and practically few prerequisites done, trust me, the answer is very simple. And your questions could be 5 questions. You ask anybody and your answers and you will get it. Yes, this guy doesn't qualify my client. Make sense? And thank you, everyone. I think I am very happy to have an insightful discussion on this. With that, thank you. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you so much, Vineet. And thank you to all the panelists. And I'm sure there was a lot more to discuss and would have loved to. But we are running a little late, so thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for this amazing, amazing panel. I request all of you all to please come together for a group picture. And now I request Mr. Vinayak Paradkar, Director, Smart Home Expo, to please join us on stage. Vinayak, I'd like you to felicitate all our panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our moderator. Thank you so much, Vineet, for moderating this session so beautifully. Ladies and gentlemen, Madhav Kohli, founder, AudioSphere. Come on, everybody, please put your hands together. We'll have Madhav next time, and I'm sure we'll have a lot more time. Ladies and gentlemen, come on, please put your hands together. It's been an amazing panel so far. Last panel before lunch, and a lot more to come. Thank you. Last but not the least, Soniya, thank you so much for joining us.